Hello and welcome to another video, and today I will be going over the events of August 21st and also some stuff that happened yesterday that I couldn't get into because I did the video about Izium and Slavyansk. So let's get into this. In the Kherson region, the town Blahodatne was captured by the Russians, and here's a close-up of the area. It is a relatively small town, so it is understandable that the Russians were able to capture it, although it did take them a while since it has been contested for several weeks now. And the unit that was responsible for taking it was the 20th Motor Rifle Division, and they dislodged the 106th Battalion of the 63rd Specialized Rifle Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, which was located in this town, and they were forced to retreat in the direction of Pervomaiske, Kiselivka, and there was also news that Vasilki fell, but that was previously under Russian control, so nothing new happened over there, although this town can be used to attack Kiselivka in tandem with an attack from Blahodatne. And I have already talked about why it is so important to take Blahodatne, because then you could take Pervomaiske and the road to Mykolaiv from there is pretty much open. All this area can be taken with ease after the Ukrainians would be dislodged from this area, which is why I think Ukraine, they might have to send some reinforcements here just to close the line and prevent any major breakthroughs. And this also is a major reversal of the Kherson counteroffensive idea. There was still some hope that it would be successful, but this is the final nail in the coffin. Now Ukraine, they're going to have to adopt a defensive posture in this area. I would say they might have to also withdraw from their bridgehead around Lazov and Andriivka, because the area is it's a very untenable position just to hold this bridgehead while you're being fired upon from all sides, and the supplies are difficult to receive. So look out for some news in this area as well. Besides that, there were some major Russian strikes on Odessa tonight. Last night there were some major strikes. Although I looked at the photos, but the thing is, in a lot of these photos of the Russian strikes, the targets are blurred out, so it's very difficult to tell what was actually targeted, and that's a common theme. So unfortunately, I don't know what was targeted, and the same thing happened in this other town over here, um, Vaz Voznesensk. There was a strike over there, and again, I don't know what happened over there. Although there was some claims that there were like 12 wounded civilians in the town when it was struck. Uh, Ukraine, they launched 13 rockets at Melitopol and the Novakakovka power plant, but they were all shot down. And besides that, there's also news from the Crimea area, where there was talks that drones actually reached the Sevastopol naval base again, and there's some video of that over here. The Russian Pantsir S1 was able to shoot down the drone, um, although it did land on the roof of the base. Apparently, there was no damage, like no major damage or no casualties. But again, the fact that the drone is able to get this deep into the enemy lines again is concerning. And then there was also in the Saki region of Crimea, there was also drones flying around, but there were three loud explosions reported in the area, and the drones were shot down. So the air defenses were able to successfully prevent any attacks, but it still isn't a good look to have drones penetrating that deep into the enemy lines. Anyway, the SBU head of the Korovohrad region, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Nakonechny, killed himself allegedly yesterday. And there's theories that maybe Russia was behind it. It was some sort of sabotage. But anyway, let's move on to the rest of the front line, where there wasn't much news over the past 2 days about advances along the Donetsk front. But something that was reported on earlier today is that there's a new assault going on Niu-York over here. So first of all, there's fighting around this town called Alexandropol. It's a pretty small town, so you could see it fall very soon. And then maybe the Russians would go over here, take Sukabalka, or advance like this towards New York. Either way, the point of the battles around here is to advance towards New York, obviously. And then there was also an advance reported on New York from the eastern region. So, New York, I've talked about this already. It's a very important area. It has pretty high elevation, and it's one of the most fortified areas along the Minsk Accords defensive line or front line that Ukraine built. It also overlooks Toretsk over here. So by taking this area, they would have a much better chance at assaulting Toretsk and taking it at a much faster pace and with less casualties. So that might be a part of Russia's plan in attacking this area. Although I will say that it is very fortified, so it will be difficult to take it over. So the fighting there might take a while. Now, in the Bakhmut area, there's not much to report on. There's just very heavy shelling of the area, which is a given by now. They're just trying to mop up Ukrainian positions around here to make a frontal attack on Bakhmut as safe as possible for the Russian troops to minimize their casualties. Now, with the fall of Zaitseve, at least most of it, there is still the northwestern part that is under the control of the Ukrainians. It is possible now that we'll see an attack on Kadema, but I haven't read anything about that as of yet. It is still contested. And then same thing with Soledar, no major gains, just very heavy shelling of the area. In the Ivano-Darivka area, the Russians released footage of capturing a checkpoint, which is near the town, but still looks like it's in a forested milieu, not really near, not really in a settlement type of area. It's just on the outskirts of the town. But they did capture some ammunition and anti-tank equipment. But Ivano-Darivka itself is a very small town. It has just like one road and a few houses. So the fighting there shouldn't be that difficult. There's not much to use as a fortification in the defense of this town. So I'm wondering if we'll see any attacks here later on, and then on Vimka. In Kramatorsk, the Russians claim to have destroyed a HIMARS system, and they say this is the 9th one that they've destroyed by now. And they also say they destroyed a lot of the ammunition for the HIMARS. And this happened around the same time as a lot of strikes on the Kramatorsk area. There was also a lot of strikes on the Slavyansk as well, and many of these other cities, like Kostiantynivka, there was some strikes over there. And also on Toretsk, there was a lot of shelling over there. Just throughout the entire front line, and also on Chasiv Yar, by the way. And all of these major cities around here. But no real gains that I can report on. Finally, in the Kharkov area, there was news that Russia destroyed the formation of the Kraken battalion in the town Andriivka, which is pretty sure it's over here. This town over here. So the Russians, they claim that they killed up to 100 militants in this area, and that there were 20 U.S. mercenaries killed in the strike as well. There was no footage of it though, just the word of the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation. Last thing I want to mention is the murder of Daria Dugina, and it was just a tragic event that occurred in Moscow in the suburbs. The Russian authorities, they say that there was an IED planted onto her car and then it exploded and killed her. So there's a theory going on that Alexander Dugin was supposed to be in that car, but that in the nick of time he switched it to a different car, and that he survived through the stroke of luck. But this isn't confirmed. It's just some rumor, and the Russians, they're still investigating this, so we don't know who the perpetrator is just yet. But given Dugin's positions on Ukraine and a lot of the things he said about like Eurasianism, which would sort of entail Ukraine and Russia joining the same sort of sphere, there is a lot of hatred of Dugin within Ukraine, and a lot of people do call him Putin's brain, but this is not really the case. Dugin did have some influence within the Kremlin years ago, but his influence has sort of dwindled recently, and he probably wasn't that much involved in the like planning of the invasion of Ukraine. But either way, that doesn't justify murdering his daughter, even if he was. Um, so I am interested to see what the Russian response would be if their investigation concluded that Ukraine was responsible for this, because they have done sabotage attacks in the past, the Ukrainians, with the SBU, and they have been pretty deep into the enemy lines, like 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers deep into Crimea, even in Belgorod, in that area, but it's never been as deep as in Moscow. So I'm wondering if Ukraine even has the capability to reach that deep into Russia. And if they do, then the Russian response is something that everybody should be looking out for. So that's it for today. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you later.